Well, let me welcome you to the conversation segment of the Signature Show this Sunday. You know, there is this book written by Dim Chukwemeka Odimegwojukwu, Because I Am Involved. You soon know why I'm mentioning the title of that book. This program, we ought to be conversing with chieftain of the All Progressive Congress. But because they are involved and therefore could either decide to cover up or to be soft on the issues, we decided not to talk with them in this segment. There are goings on in the All Progressives Congress. Those goings on began before they were inaugurated as the party to form the current government, Bola Tinubu as president. Consistent dissensions, and we enumerate them. But first, let me introduce my guest. My guest is an activist. He's a person on the part of the Talakawa, as we say it, the National Publicity Secretary of Action Alliance, Comrade Omotoso. Comrade, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Do you still speak for the Talakawa, for the downtrodden, as a comrade?
Well, this thing has become part of my blood. And as an activist, you fight for the rights of the people. Once you are launched into it and you subscribe to it, it doesn't leave you.
Comrade, let me just begin from a general framework. In the Second Republic, if you remember, because of MPN, UPN, MPP, and all that, there was what was called supremacy of the party. Yes. In other words, the structure and leadership of the party had control over their elected members. Yes. The elected members were, let me use the expression, per force, implemented the manifesto of the party yes. and upheld the ideology of the party.
Yes.
But since the Fourth Republic, it appears that the structure seems to have been changed. Those elected now constitute the leaders of the party. And the leadership of the party, the national chairman, national secretary, blah, 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 seem now to be accountable to the elected members. Why is it like that?
Well, up to the Second Republic, where we have supremacy of the party, there were a lot of things that were put in place then that ensures the success of that pronouncement that the party is supreme. Now, the constitution of political parties at that time clearly spelled out how party affairs will be run, and then how party will be, how political activities and party activities are sponsored.
In other words, the finances of the party.
The finances of the party. Now, everybody that becomes a member of a political party has something to do, has a responsibility. There is dues that every legitimate, every legal member of the political party is expected to chip in periodically, either weekly, monthly, or whatever, as their meetings were arranged.
A kind of collective ownership of the party.
So everybody then feel this sense of belonging, that it's our thing. So it doesn't matter what I bring in. What I bring in might be infinitesimally smaller than what you bring in. But at that time, I can say, look, I'm paying my dues, and you are paying your dues. So, we agree on how things are done. That was when we actually have
the parties were collectively financed.
But now things have changed. Now, as a matter of fact, membership of political party now, a lot of people out there now believe that when I join a political party, I should be paid a salary for being a member of that political party. So, and it has gotten to a level that, of course, when the people who sees the opportunity there, you see, then it becomes, they see the need for them to try and seize the opportunity to load it on the people. And of course, that's when we begin to talk about money bags. Now, they see the launch in there. They know that the political parties need logistics. They need finances and all that. They say, okay, don't worry, we'll put it down. But when I put it down, this is what I get from it. So a return on investment. So it has become an investment.
So the governors who hold the purses of the state,
Yes.
the ministers who hold the purses of the
Yes.
ministries,
Yes.
the president who holds the purse of the nation can make substantial contribution
To the
and
party.
make demands
Of course.
on what they get.
Of course.
Now,
And of course, the party had to dance to their tune because they know if they say no, the funds will not come.
now, comrade, why I'm raising this is because the ruling party now, the All Progressives Congress, has been having a series of open disagreements. Let me just enumerate some of them so that we can put it in context. Before the primaries, the presidential primaries of the APC, in the run-up to the 2023 general election, President Muhammadu Buhari, in series of conversations and meetings with interest groups, leadership of the party, governors, advised the party to toe the option of consensus candidate. One, it will be less contentious and would divide the party less if a candidate is agreed on. Yes. Two, it will be less expensive because consensus wouldn't require all the money that moves around in the course of. But the party seemed to have been unable to settle for a consensus candidate. Now, the issue I'm trying to bring up, therefore, is this. The leadership of the party indeed announced former Senate President Ahmed Lawan as a consensus candidate. But interests within the party rose stoutly against that choice. And the national leadership of the party lost out. That was an indication of either a divided ideology, a divided governance perspective, a divided interest. In other words, the House seemed not to have been together in that wise. Now, a second instance. APC won election. The president is an APC president. And it came to the choice of the leadership of the National Assembly. Again, the president opted for Senator Godswill Akpabio. Within the party, there were stout disagreements to the point that Senator Yari of Zamfara State continued contesting the position of that party until he lost. By the way, before that contest, the national leadership of the party had said that efforts were still being made to determine who was going to be the party's choice. It never threw its weight behind Akpabio. Again, an indication of a divided house, divided interest. Just 2 days ago, after Senator Godswill Akpabio, National Assembly leadership had announced principal officers of the National Assembly, Senator Omishore, the National Secretary, and the National Chairman of the party, distinguished Senator Abdullah Adamu, visited the president. And when they came out, they told the media that the principal officers announced by the National Assembly leadership that we are hearing of them like another person was hearing of them. That the party was not in the know and has not sent any letter indicating its choice. Meanwhile, those choices have been endorsed by the president himself. Another clear indication of a party torn in the middle. What do you make of this consistent indication of a house against itself?
To people who are not
Politicians,
politicians,
like some of us ordinary Nigerians.
yes, it will appear as something conspicuous or something very big, something quite unusual. But to some of us who have been in there, uh, it's one of the things. It's a normal thing that does happen, because in politics, like it is always been said, we don't have permanent enemies, but you only have permanent interest. You see, all of these things that are happening, that you are seeing, um, were all based on interest. Now, the president had been elected. Before the election of the president, now, all odds were against him. Now, he was not supposed to become the candidate of the party. As a matter of fact, everything was done so glaringly that even the blind can see and see that this guy, they never wanted him to be there. Few days to the primaries, the same national chairman we are talking about now announced somebody that he took to the then president as the consensus candidate. Now, that never happened, of course, because the current president insisted and his team insisted on a
An
level playing
open
ground.
field.
Yes, they went there. And of course, they did their homework well, and he emerged. So his emergence was not without dissension, was not without opposition. Now, he emerged. And he had, I mean, after inauguration, of course, the next thing that we had to do is for him to build his team. Now, in building his team, the practice is he needs to listen to the party. He needs to do that with his party. Yes, and in doing that with his party as a person, because the primary thing for him should be paramount on his mind now is how do I succeed? And for him to succeed, he needs to build a team that he has trust and belief in. In doing that, that means he has to choose people he knows. Now, if he has to choose somebody that he does not know, then he must be introduced. He must have the confidence of people that he himself trusts. That yes, this guy, we have worked with him, we know, I mean, he can deliver. So when it comes to that, so many people will come. And in a situation like that, when somebody that stood stoutly against him going into the primaries, bring somebody and say, look, I trust this person. Of course, it's just natural that he wants to think twice. That at the first instance, you never supported my candidacy. Now I have a match, and then you are bringing somebody. Now, he's an African person. He might just be bringing a mole or bringing somebody that will just internally work internally to bring against my will. So he wants to look at somebody that he can trust or that people around him can trust. So these things that we are seeing, they are just normal. They are normal things. It may not be that they are really or just working against the party or wanting him to fail or whatever. But politics is about interest. Now, everybody say, okay, what do I get in that? Yes, forget about the song that, look, I'm not in politics because of money, I'm not in politics because of that. I'm in politics because I want to serve the people, forget about it. Everybody can say that. I mean, that's the song on the mouth of every politician. But deep down, the first thing is, oh, I have spent money to get here. Now, I know there are challenges around. So how do I make myself comfortable? This position is transient. After this, how do I live? So these are some of the things they look at. But on the long run, whether they want to do it or not, they will still need to run along the line of the promises made to the people during the electioneering campaign.
I want to come into that.
Yeah.
The promises made to the people in the course of election, in the course of campaign. For the president to deliver on those promises,
Yes.
he needs officials,
Yes, it needs a team.
a team, ministers, but I don't want to dwell on ministers. He will need the cooperation of the National Assembly.
Yeah.
Now, if there are dissensions already, where some people are against those he's brought, including the national leadership of the party, will this not be a distraction?
The National Assembly is a very critical arm and a very critical factor also when it comes to a political party in power delivering on its promises. Now, and that's the reason why we are getting this kind of rift, disagreement that we are getting now. Ordinarily, in any democracy, the National Assembly have the absolute right to decide and choose their officers themselves without any
Interferences or
interference at
pressure
all.
from...
Exactly. But in the kind of in our own climb here, now there is need for us. I mean, for the president to teleguide, but teleguiding them shouldn't be open. It should be covertly to make sure that at least they get somebody, they get people that will agree with him, that have the same ideological focus, so that they will be able to say, okay, what we have promised the people, we are going to deliver. We are going to deliver, because when there is rift between the executive and the legislature, there is the people that will suffer. Because of course, whether we like it or not, the legislators will take their salary, they will take their allowances and all that. Whether they see it or not, it doesn't really matter. But we, the people, will be the people that will suffer, because they will not be able to sit down and make laws. And whatever laws they are making for the people to make, to deliver, to ensure deliverance of dividends to the people, the executive may not assent and all that. So it's very, very important. Now, I think that's the reason why the president is saying, okay, this is the people I want. Whether the party agrees with it or not, these are the people that I'm going to work with, because I understand them. Because up until this level that we are now, the feelers is that every appointment, or the positions that had been assigned, that have been filled in the National Assembly now, has the blessing of the president. It's the party now that is saying, no, the president cannot do that without without our input. And if the president...
That in fact, the national leadership is saying that we should decide.
Yeah, they should decide. But deciding, I think maybe they are leaving. Incidentally, Abdullah Adamu is an old politician. Probably he just woke up and then he had a dream of what obtained during the Second Republic. And now we have moved away.
The game has changed.
Yeah, the game has changed. It is individuals now. Individuals sponsor political parties now, not the members of the party. And he who pays the piper dictate the tone. So until we get back to that regime where every party member has something chipping into the party to finance the party, that is when people will begin to have voice again.
Now, I want to sympathize with the president this afternoon. The president came in after some internal fight and emerged as the candidate and then the president. He is also inherited a baggage. The last government was sorely criticized for being ultra-partisan, ultra-ethnicist. Appointments that were made as if the country was only northern Nigeria. Now, the president is seeking to create a balance, apparently. Yeah. But some people are saying, in seeking to compensate for the evils of the last regime, he's bending too southwards. Will Abdullah Adamu and people who are likely to reason that way, would they have a case?
Of course they do. They do, because unfortunately, our politics had gotten to a level where um, uh, bigotry and
Ethnicity
ethnicity had gotten an
into
armchair.
critical
Yeah, they've gotten
decisions.
armchair to sit down and then uh, and decide when decisions are to be taken. Now, if not for that, I don't really see anything wrong in, okay, given the president, there are some appointments, there are some appointments that the president can make, even without recourse to the National Assembly and even the party. Of course, you're talking the president deciding, either president or governor choosing special advisors and all that. It's choosing people that he trusts that will work for him. Now, Abdullahi Adamu has a case, and he has a point there. He has a point in protesting. Now, the president threw his weight behind Godswill Akpabio to emerge as the Senate president. He emerged. Now it comes to time to, and it is time now to choose who will work with him in the National Assembly. And Akpabio decided to say, look, I am a Southerner. I'm going to choose a majority leader. He chose a Southwesterner. Now the majority leader need an assistance. And when he's not there, somebody should stand in for him. He chose a Southeasterner, meaning that the Senate president is from the South. The majority leader is from the South. The deputy majority leader is from the South. And you don't expect Adamu and Northerners to kick? Of course they will kick. Because that shows clearly that their wings have been pruned as far as the National Assembly is concerned. Meaning that they will now need to come and negotiate. They will have to come and lobby more than they will have been doing had a Northerner emerged. Yes, of course. If a Northerner had, it would be a matter of just walking into the office. My brother, I want this done, and all that. But now, these principal officers coming from the South, of course, when you talk to them, they want to consider the president first.
Now, comrade, you know that I enumerated 3 instances of deep dissension.
Yes.
From producing the candidate, to producing the Senate president, now to producing the principal officers. If matters come to a head, there should be a sacrificial lamb. Because the government must run smoothly in order to deliver on the promises they made. Who should get the boot?
Well, I think the variables now, or let me say, what is playing out now, is such that there is a matter of let us disagree now to agree later. And with the kind of experience that we have had in this country politically, I don't see this as anything, as a mountain that cannot be surmounted. Very soon, after, this is the major thing now, after the election or the selection of the principal officers, now, the foray, the noise and then the agitation and all that will go down. Now, it will now shift to the ministers and others. Now, I am seeing something, if I'm going to draw from the experience we had when PDP was holding sway. Now, when things like this happen and then we want to intervene or want to say anything, say, look, it's a family affair, we go settle them. Now, I want to believe that the family affair approach will also work here. Why am I saying this? The Abdullahi Adamu, the national chairman, now has he is weaker now, and is negotiating now from the position of weakness, not from the position of strength. Because now, the only thing they can use against the president is, look, if you are not doing what we want to do, you will be impeached. Then who is going to impeach him? Akpabio will not do that. The majority leader will not do that. And the deputy majority leader will not do that. They see him, they will not see him as their brothers. Now, and at the end of the day, it will come to a point that maybe the leadership of the party will want to sit them down and say, look, we need to settle all of this. And then Abdullah Adamu will have a choice to agree to ceasefire or to follow the hard line and then be dealt with. And dealing with, I mean, to get dealt with, like I'm saying, I mean, it could be kicked out. As powerful as Oshiomhole was in the last administration, he was thrown out. With all the protests and all of that, with all of the braggadocio, nobody can do it and all that, he was thrown out. And he left eventually.
Let us give a piece of advice to Abdullah Adamu. For him to survive this storm, should we eat the humble pie?
Well, I think it should. And the one of the reasons why it should do that is a recent experience that PDP had. What tore PDP down, what destroyed the flag of that party was the insistence of the national chairman. Are you saying that he will not beat any retreat? Even when it was obvious that his insistence on his chosen path will destroy the party. He said no. And look at what we have today. 5 governors walked against its candidates. And at the end of the day, we are all witness of what happened. So I think this is the time that Adamu should be more party-minded in deciding on what to do. I think he needs a retreat now. If he beats a retreat now, of course, he will remain relevant. Of course, it's his political party. And himself and Tinubu were good, I mean, were colleagues. They were governors at some point, at the same time. So they know, I mean, they understand, they know themselves, they know how to resolve it. And this is a party issue. Asiwaju, as a person that we know, if the things that he did as governor in Lagos State and some of the things that he has been doing as a leader, as a political leader, raising lieutenants and all that, putting them, if we want to go by that, I don't want to think Asiwaju would throw him out just like that. If at the end of the day he agreed to say, okay, no problem, let's work for the for the benefit of the party, let's work together, I think he should have a retreat. The hard stand will not help him, neither will it help the party. Because the party now, some of the things that Tinubu is doing now is to redeem the image of the party. Because before the election, if you ask 10 Nigerians about the political party that they want, of course,
they wouldn't count APC,
they won't count APC as an option at all. So now, I myself, I wasn't the fan of Tinubu becoming, not because of his person.
Of course, you have your own party.
Yes,
so
not because.
it couldn't have been.
Now, but now that he has been inaugurated, he has taken some measures. He has taken some steps. The policies and all that is such that I'm beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel.
You are beginning to consider him as the right man for that position.
No, I'm beginning to consider him as somebody that is actually prepared, that actually prepared himself to get there, because he got there and he started cracking. So some of the things, all as an activist, some of the things that he had done now, we have been agitating for a very long time. Look at the subsidy remover. Yes, we all know it's going to come with pain, but nothing good comes easy. No, at the end of the day, I mean, we'll begin to see the benefit.
Comrade, you are dragging this conversation into an area that I will hold you to account. Comrade, as an activist,
yeah,
protecting the interests of the proletariat,
yeah,
struggling Nigerians,
yes,
you were in the vanguard of those who opposed removal of subsidy in January of 2012.
yes.
How has a policy you opposed suddenly become attractive to you? Is your position person-centered?
No. You see, during Jonathan's time, 2012 January, when he removed the subsidy, we opposed it because it was wrongly timed.
And comrade,
Yeah.
it is rightly timed now.
Not it's whether rightly timed or not now, because experience between that time and now had shown to us that
That Jonathan was right.
he was right at that time.
Thank
If
you.
we had allowed him at that time, of course, all of these things we are talking about now would have been gone, would have gotten done with them
Comrade,
long
as
ago.
an activist, do you want to apologize to Jonathan?
Well, not apology,
But what?
not apology, because at that time, I could remember that he had a meeting with the civil society, and we presented a front. We told him how to go about it. We actually told him not to do it in January because it will be hard. Of course, he decided that that's the way. Maybe his advisors told him that's the best way to do it. And of course, the opposition clamped onto that, and of course, brought people who were dissented already.
And then
They shut it down.
asking for regime change.
Yes.
But now we're asking for regime consolidation.
Not really regime consolidation, because you see, as an activist, I'm not particularly about who is there. What matters is what are the policies that is coming up from the mill that will, how is it going to benefit the people? The subsidy removal is painful, but some people are milking us.
Which was the same argument.
Yes.
Jonathan told us
Yes.
that some people were getting rich while we are getting poorer.
Yeah, but it was not as obvious as it is
Now.
Then, now that it has become so obvious, and we just had to get done
So
with
it is not a policy that came out at the time it ought to.
At the time, this is a
All
time
of us
that
now
we all,
understand.
yes, we all need to embrace it.
We may have to change Jonathan's name to Nostradamus, the man who saw tomorrow.
You see, there is no leader that comes to power, whichever way, that will not have something, that will not have a policy that is good for the people, but that will be misunderstood. That's exactly what happened to him. A lot of people do not really understand him at that time. Why he's saying that? Because we were asking, is subsidy payment really true? Is it true or false? Is it fake or whatever? And of course, the subsidy had been removed now. And look at what NMPC is saying, that in 2016, they didn't even pay any subsidy. So now we want to ask, government has been telling us that we've been paying subsidy. So what, how is that? You really find it difficult to reconcile.
There are many contradictions.
So now that it has been removed, at least now we have some peace. Now, when they are talking about subsidy, now we'll ask them, where was the subsidy for? So that's is the policy. As activists, the civil society, we are more concerned about what is the benefit that the people get.
Anyway, comrade, you know that this was just a tangent.
Yes.
The core of this conversation has been I won't call it the crisis, not crisis, but the continuous challenge within the ruling party and how it's going to affect governance. Do you think, at last note, that if APC doesn't harmonize things quickly, that the Nigerian electorate will be at the losing end?
Yes, I want to advise them to close rank. Now, the president wants us to believe now that there is no problem in this political party because he's carrying on, just doing his thing. Yes, it might be easy now, but it will get to a time that if it is not resolved on time, other interests will creep in. And opposition might just want to take advantage of that too, to infiltrate and then create a problem for him. Like in my parlance, they say when you go to a street, if you stay too long there, different kind of flies will meet you there. So just do what you want to do and then
take a walk.
Take a walk. So I think this is the time for them to really come up and then close rank and just launch themselves into delivering on the promises that they have made to the people. The people are wise. We are wiser now. because we have had nasty experience. And any body language now that is
Easily
tending
read.
towards the past experience we had, the people
Will
will
scream.
react, yes.
Well, in the past 25, 30 minutes or thereabout, I've been conversing with Comrade Omotoso. Comrade Omotoso is the National Publicity Secretary of Action Alliance, one of Nigeria's many political parties. Now, I began by saying that Dim Odumegwu Ojukwu wrote a book, I Am Involved. When you are involved, you tend to either subpedal or treat the facts with some measure of discretion. But when you are not involved, you speak the truth to the situation. Comrade, thank you very much for coming to the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
This conversation never ends. It continues Sunday after Sunday. I'm Waboze Njoko. Good afternoon.